Hello, this is Mr. Usher, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about Chapter 6. This chapter is working in Excel. It's talking about functions and data organization. And the last chapter, Chapter 5, we basically kind of got caught up and you understood some of the similarities between Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel. You learned a lot of the same features on how you can do them in Excel just as you learned in Word. Now what we're doing is we're getting more advanced into like the formulas, and we're turning formulas into functions, and we're organizing the data in many different ways. So to get started, we're going to be working on the first practice. It's called planets. And this practice is pretty small. It just, I believe, has the diameter of each one of the planets in the solar system, and you're going to round them down using a function. It's the round function. And there's two parts to the round function. I highly recommend that you use your textbook and you understand that the first part of the round function is what will be rounded. In this case, it's going to be the diameter. And then you're going to put a comma, and then you're going to round it to however many decimal points. And you'll just put a whole number next to it and then close the parenthesis within the function. And this could be valuable if you ever wanted to round something and make the number a little bit more simple. That you were getting out from some type of calculation. But you got to think of things on a number line. If you want to go on one side of the number line, it's going to be a positive number, and on the other side it's going to be a negative number. So that number of how many places to be rounded, please pay close attention to that and just understand how it works within the function. That's the key to that practice. The next one is called the employee commission. And we're going to kind of take the perspective that we're working at some type of sales company. Maybe we're selling cars, maybe we're selling TVs, whatever it is that we're selling, we're receiving a percentage of the sales. So let's say we sold a $1,000 TV and you were to get a specific number of percentage of commission. Maybe it's a 10% commission. So you will multiply that 10% times 1,000, and then you will get that added on to your paycheck as a commission for the sale that you're making. So we're going to be learning something called the absolute cell reference. And what the absolute cell reference does is it puts a dollar sign around a cell, the row and the column, a dollar sign around both of them, and then it locks that in there so that when you do drag your fill handle, that cell remains the same. It remains constant. It does not move or copy to another row or another column. So the absolute cell reference is the key to this practice. The next one is the commission summary. And on the commission summary, you're going to be using multiple functions. You're going to be using an average function, a sum function, a minimum and a maximum function. And you're just going to be learning how these functions can make your life so much easier compared to how you were pointing and clicking and adding cells like A1 plus B1 plus C1 plus D1. And you'll notice that after a while they can start to become very long formulas, whereas now you can use functions, you can select the certain areas. So watch some of the videos to help you out for all of these practices. I highly recommend it. The next one is going to be called payroll, and some students get confused. There is only one part of payroll that we're going to be working on. I think there's a second part in a later chapter, but you will not be completing that in Chapter 6. So you'll just be following the steps, and it is a large payroll summary as if you were working in a business and calculating the taxes and the Social Security and all the deductions off of a paycheck. So you're starting to see some of the different ways that spreadsheets can be used to organize data and make calculations using functions and formulas. Finally, we're going to wrap up the practices with the loan. And it's a pretty challenging practice. I really like it because it makes a lot of sense. At some point, you guys are going to have to purchase a home or maybe even a car, which is also explained in this practice. And you're going to have some choices. I think we see a lot of times on commercials or over the radio, or we see advertisements of like 0% APR or 1.9%. And you're going to be given these opportunities in the future when you make these big purchases. So I really like this practice, and it has definitely helped me out by teaching it to help make me, make the right decisions when I need to take out a loan if I ever needed to buy a car or to buy another house. So what you're going to end up doing is you're going to be learning a few things, a very advanced formula. It's called amortization of a loan. The principal is going to be the loan amount, so how much the house is or how much the loan is for the car. The next thing that you're going to be looking into is the APR, or the percentage rate. It's an annual percentage rate, so you're going to notice in your textbook that you have to divide it by 12. So please pay attention to that. This is key information to help you understand it. And then the last part of the loan that you need to think about is the term. And the term is how long the loan is. So sometimes we have to convert these depending on how they're written. A loan for a home, a conventional loan, is a 30-year loan. So you'd have to multiply 30 years times 12 payments, so you'd get 360 payments. Oftentimes a conventional loan for a car would be a 5-year loan, so you do 5 years multiplied by 12, you're going to get 60 payments for a car. So understand that 12 will be added in. Sometimes it'll be multiplied, sometimes it'll be divided in certain cases, because we do monthly payments, and sometimes in these cases they're talking about years, so you just have to do small conversions. The last part to this amortization formula is you do need to put in a negative sign in front of the principal amount, and you will see that in your textbook, and you will see that on the tutorial videos. So I highly recommend that you watch these, because this chapter is going to be maybe the most challenging chapter, and it's going to be a little bit tricky in some cases. It's going to add in a little bit more math than the previous ones. So moving on, after you're done with the practices, you have the review questions, you have the exercises. Exercise 2 is Pizza Palace, and in this one, again, you're going to get a challenging function. It's going to be called an if function. And what's going to happen is you will be needing to read, I believe it's step F, and it's saying if the cost of the pizza is less than $4, then you will multiply it by 2, or you'll multiply it by 1.5. So take a look at that, and maybe if you guys need some hints, I can tag some notes on there. But I'd like you to try to see if you can complete the if function kind of on your own. Practice a few others in the review questions. It'll be very challenging. This will be a tough review set, and use your textbook to help you out. Also, the school loan, that's going to reinforce the amortization that you used in the loan practice, but this time you're taking the perspective as if you're taking out a school loan. So these are 3 very important times in your life: obviously buying a car, buying a house, and possibly if you need to take out school loans. So I really like this chapter. It is challenging, but it does talk and put you guys in a lot of real life situations. So hopefully this summary has been helpful, and if you have any further questions, again, continue to watch the video tutorials, or as always, you guys can go ahead and email me.